Students at SUNY Plattsburgh who are public relations majors often help nonprofits raise funds and awareness. One nonprofit is Hannah's Hope, named for Hannah Sames, a little girl from the Albany area diagnosed with giant axonal neuropathy, or GAN. The rare fatal condition attacks the central nervous system, much like ALS. With the students' help and other fundraisers, Hannah's parents, who are both from the Plattsburgh area, raised more than $8 million to pay for a clinical trial for a gene replacement therapy to treat Hannah and other kids with GAN. And benefits like this hockey game between Plattsburgh and Beekmantown in February at the SUNY Fieldhouse continue to raise thousands more to fund more trials and research for a cure. Hannah was the guest of honor and even sang the national anthem. Before the game, she and her mom sat down with Mountain Lake Journal's Tom Halleck.
And Hannah and her mom, Lori, join us now. It's good to see you. Welcome. Nice to have you both here.
Thanks for having us.
When Hannah was first diagnosed with her genetic disorder, you said you were going to start fighting to find a cure. And here we are almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
And the clinical trials are underway, and Hannah has undergone the gene replacement therapy, and
yes.
And you're seeing positive signs.
Yeah, Hannah was injected on July 21st at the National Institutes of Health, and in theory, it's a one and done. They deliver a healthy copy of the gene and try to target as many nerve cells in the central nervous system as possible. And in theory, the gene will have lifelong expression of the missing protein. She'll be continued to go to follow-up visits at NIH for 2 years, and then follow-ups annually by telephone for another 10 years.
And what kind of improvements are you seeing?
It's really early, and we're really not supposed to talk about trial results, but as parents, we can tell you that we are seeing positive changes in Hannah. Her fine motor seems to be a lot better. Her leg strength, she's gained about 12 pounds, and she can still stand and be weight-bearing, even though she's bearing a lot more weight now. So thankfully, she's gaining weight and really thriving. So what other positive signs are we seeing, Hannah?
Well, like I can touch things.
Yes.
Like, without going like.
Yeah. Last week we were at NIH for her 6-month follow-up visits, and Hannah had to have a lumbar puncture to sample the cerebrospinal fluid. And we had to recover in the day hospital that day, and we were bored, so I went and got the memory game out of the playroom. And with her left hand, Hannah's left hand dominant, she would just grab a card and flip it over. And after the third time, I said to her, Hannah, you've never had control like that, to be able to just grab something and on demand pick it up and flip it over. And she kind of stared at me. So, peripheral nerve regrowth is only 1 millimeter a day. So really the goal is we're hoping that this protein that is now expressing in nerve cells in Hannah's body is clearing out some garbage off the axon portion of the nerve, some proteins that weren't being degraded. So basically, we think of it like clearing out a clog in a vacuum hose, several little clogs along those axons. So we're really hoping once some aggregates really get cleared, she'll start having some peripheral nerve regrowth. We hope to be able to rescue any nerve cells that are just dysfunctional that actually haven't died off yet.
It's only been a few months, about 6 months. Is it too early to call it a success, or?
It is. It's really going to be the 2-year mark before we really know the full impact of this.
You say doctors and researchers say you really have to wait almost that 2 years to see how effective it will be.
Correct. At least 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Hannah, how are you feeling since having the treatment?
Pretty good.
Have you noticed a difference?
Oh yeah, I have. My fine motor is better.
And is it easier it's easier for you to move?
Yeah.
You're obviously hopeful that you're going to continue to see the progress, but no guarantees how long you may see that progress.
Right. This is a first in human. These kids with GAN are the first to receive a therapeutic gene to the spinal cord. So kind of the book is being written. We really don't know the outcome, but our work is far from over. This first gene therapy targets the nerves in the central nervous system, and GAN is a disease of every nerve cell in the body. So we also have an optic gene delivery program that right now is being funded by the NIH at UNC at Chapel Hill. But if that shows promise, Hannah's Hope Fund will have to pay to drive that forward to a human trial. As well, we're working on a drug discovery approach to treat the nerves in the peripheral nervous system. So while we hope that this, really stops the progression of the disease in the central nervous system, and those axons are very long, we hope that we'll continue to see peripheral nervous system improvements, but these kids will need a cocktail of therapies really to target all the cell types that we really need to in giant axonal neuropathy.
Do you allow yourself to think about how much success you may see? Would it be possible for Hannah perhaps to walk again someday?
I mean, that is our hope. These kids, it's going to take a lot of physical therapy. So, we really hope 9 months from now she can use a walker. I mean, that would be, a great goal. And we do lots of physical therapy. So it's kind of retraining the CNS and the peripheral nerves and how to communicate again.
Since the beginning, you've raised millions of dollars to help make these human trials a reality.
Yeah, so Hannah's Hope Fund independently funded all of the preclinical work, all the safety studies, the toxicology studies. We paid for the first batch of vector for the human trial. We didn't have money to pay for a clinical trial, so I approached the National Institutes of Health to see if they would house it there in Bethesda. And thankfully, Dr. Karsten Bonneman stepped up and said that he would run it there. So that was godsend, because clinical trials are millions of dollars. I mean, it probably would have been $15 million to do a trial in an academic center for GAN.
You're continuing to raise money, though. Are you hopeful that you might be able to use that money in other ways to continue to look for breakthroughs?
Yeah, we're continuing to raise money to fund the optic program and the drug discovery program. So with drug discovery, there's two approaches. One is a black box approach. We have 2 cell models that have a problem, and we think that if we find a compound that can fix the problem in those 2 different cell models, it could impact the disease in a human. So that's kind of the black box approach. The other approach is hiring cell biologists and biochemists to figure out exactly why the nerves in GAN are dying. And then you have your targeted drug development. You know what's wrong, you work with biochemists to create something to fix it. So Hannah's Hope Fund needs to make a commitment to $400,000 to University of Missouri and Northwestern University for 2 years. It's a 2-year commitment at each entity, and they're working together and collaborating to try to figure out exactly what is causing nerve death.
Maybe even years down the road, the hope is that there could still be the discovery of a cure?
Yes. If we can infect enough cells in the central nervous system with a healthy copy of the gene in a child that really isn't presenting with symptoms yet, the hope is that gene therapy could be curative.
Have you been proud of how much money Hannah's Hope Fund has raised and awareness?
Yeah, it's really incredible. The people that just continuously, year after year, really step up and help us. And new people all the time are joining our mission. And now that we've had success and we can show that with the money that we're raising, we get to a human trial, we're really hoping that the support continues so that we can go to a human trial with a drug that will hopefully treat every cell in the body.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking with us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Lori, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Continued success to you. We wish you the best.
Thank you.
Hannah's condition is so rare, doctors say only about 75 people in the world are known to have GAN. To learn more about Hannah's Hope Fund, head to our website, mountainlake.org.